Hello everyone, this is ICB here and today we are talking about Daredevil Born Again episode 5. And yes, both of the episode 5 and 6 released at the same time, but I've been a bit busy lately and I couldn't really watch both of them at the same time. So here I am talking about only the 5th episode. Now, in the 5th episode, nothing much really happens. And if you've been following with the news, you would know that this show was reshot a lot. Basically, they finished filming the entire season of this show and they realized that they had a big steaming pile of shit on their hands. So they decided to bring the old guys back and decided to reshoot major parts of this show. And you know what? After watching this episode, this feels like that legacy part of that show. Like the entire episode feels like it has nothing to do with the episodes that came before it. I mean, there were definitely some episodes that were really boring, but this episode feels like it was just straight up unedited episode of the legacy show that they just didn't bother to reshoot. And it shows because this episode is really boring. Nothing really happens. This is supposed to be a superhero show. I've said this so many times before. You know what, like, I get it, like people love this slow burn drama, but this is like the 5th episode. I've read on Twitter that the next episode will get a lot more crazy, so you will probably find me talking about the 6th episode very giddy and smiling and saying this is the best season ever and whatnot. But until then, I'm talking about the 5th episode, and 5th episode is not good. So in this episode, Matt Murdock goes to a bank to get loan for his law firm, which is denied by none other than Yusuf Khan. And if you don't know who Yusuf Khan is, you are probably one of the 99% of the people out there who didn't watch Miss Marvel. Unfortunately, I did watch it, but I didn't really review it. Maybe I did actually. I don't remember, like there's been so many videos on this channel, like I can't keep track of anything. But yes, Yusuf Khan is the father of Kamala Khan. So there you go. And you know what, the entire episode kind of feels like an advertisement for Miss Marvel, because you know what, like it's been such a long time since we've heard about Miss Marvel in any Marvel show or a movie. It felt like they just wanted to remind the audience that hey, this character exists. And I do think that Miss Marvel is going to be coming back in some of her own show, kind of like a Teen Titans buddy team up kind of a show. So this kind of feels like an advertisement for that. It does feel like that, like the way Yusuf Khan is talking about Miss Marvel, and he's like, you don't know about Miss Marvel, she's like this superhero, you don't know about that. And he's like, very desperately trying to introduce Miss Marvel again, because probably a lot of people have forgotten about her, and I don't blame them, because they probably were never familiar with the character to begin with, because no one watched the show besides me. So after the initial interaction of Matt Murdock and Yusuf Khan and them talking about Miss Marvel and giving the promo for her character, Yusuf Khan denies the loan because he says, hey, you're like a really good guy and you're doing charity and you're representing people that can pay you, and thus your firm is not profitable. So he denies the loan. As soon as Matt Murdock leaves, the entire bank is taken over by some Irish gang members, and Matt notices this and then comes back and he lets himself be captured. Well, the show kind of just falls off from there. You can just doze off and not care about the plot. But if you're like me, if you're an idiot like me and you're watching this show because you have to make a review about this freaking show, you pay attention. And well, the robbers came here because they wanted some kind of a diamond that's in this stupid bank safe, and Yusuf doesn't know how to open it. So Matt Murdock goes there and he helps him open the safe, and they retrieve the diamond. And well, that's kind of where the whole episode ends, because even though these guys have a lot of hostages, the police officers, they just decide to just barge in there, even though there's a big chance that they might actually, it really puts the hostages in a very difficult position when the police officers just barged in with no plan whatsoever. So yeah, like it just the episode just decides to end itself because they didn't really knew how to end it. So Matt actually notices that there was a woman in the hostages that was actually working with the robbers. So he, instead of following the woman, decides to follow the the gang leader or whatever you want to call him. So he follows that guy, like it feels like it felt like the woman kind of was the ringleader or whatever, but instead of following her, Matt follows this dude and they have a awkward fight. And it feels really weird that Matt usually has trouble fighting these goons. Like, I feel like Matt should just be able to beat the shit out of these guys really quickly, even though like this guy is a bank robber and he's probably built up quite a bit, but still seeing Matt struggle to fight against these guys is a bit weird. And if you watch this episode, you would be like, oh, like the fight was definitely one-sided because Matt actually beats the hell out of that robber. But still to just see him initially struggle a little bit, it's a bit weird. So I just think that if Matt is fighting against one robber, Matt should be able to at least overwhelm him quite a bit. But I think it's definitely interesting to see Matt fight a lot of robbers because you really get to see him, beat the crap and, get beaten up in return, and then he beats other guys. That's really fun. But when he's fighting with one guy, like, just let Matt really seriously overwhelm him. And he does kind of overwhelm the guy towards the end. But, like initially I would have liked to Matt just, overwhelm him. But yeah, that's a rant that's way longer than it should have been. I'm not sure what I'm talking about, but I'm tired and I should probably stop talking because it feels like a rant that's not going anywhere. Anyways, this episode, it feels like it could have been cut from this entire show, and it feels like we wouldn't have missed quite much. And that's one of the things when it comes to making movies. If you can take away some kind of a plot point, or if you can take away a character from a plot and it doesn't really change the overall story of a movie or a show, then it was probably not good enough to be put in there in the first place. And that's exactly what this episode feels like. It feels like it's a filler only there to just take up time and waste everyone's time. But yeah, like, let me know your thoughts if you watched this crappy episode. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And I guess I'll see you guys next time.